All right, in this video, we're talking claim structure. This is basically copywriting 101 stuff that a lot of people will still miss, right? So you're making ads or you're making a asset that you want to put out into the market and get a response, right? You want to get people paying attention and, more importantly, the right people paying attention. That's what claim structure is for. You want to structure your claim in such a way that it basically qualifies and connects to the individual you're trying to get into your funnel, into a booked call, to buy a thing, to do a thing. So there's 5 parts. I prompted the GPT for the fundamentals here based off of what works best. So these are the things, okay? And this applies to any creator, any niche, any market. There's always going to be a promise, okay, that you're making about the specific outcome. There's always going to be a time frame, a mechanism, proof, and risk reversal, okay? These are the ingredients that you want to have in your claim. And you want to structure it in such a way that you're basically saying it like this. Okay, so you can see the example: lose 10 pounds in 30 days without doing XYZ, using the method, the mechanism, backed by a proof point, and you could even add to this guarantee of some kind, a risk reversal of some kind. So you do this or you don't pay, right? So lose 10 pounds in 30 days, no cardio, cut your favorite blah blah blah, using metabolic reset method backed by Harvard research. If you don't lose weight or see results, or pay nothing, right? There you go. That's how you would say that. Cut customer churn by 50% in 60 days using predictive retention data. No engineers required. If churn doesn't decrease by 50% in 60 days, you pay nothing. That's one example, right? You could reverse risk in a number of ways. That's an idea for another video. That's a fantastic idea for another video. But for now, these are the claim structure points that you want to be hitting, okay? Very straightforward, very simple, but if you don't have this, the big mistake that so many people make is that they try and go out being clever. And I made this mistake too when I was starting out. And for many years, I made this mistake. You want to stick to the fundamentals. And the fundamentals are that people only really care about the result that they're going to get or the problem that you're going to help them solve. And being as clear and concise as you can about how they're going to do that is what's going to work. What's not going to work is getting fancy. So that's why we don't get fancy. We say something that's very clear, very hard to misinterpret. You will still have people who misinterpret what you're saying, but you want to approach that number being 0. All right, you don't want people to have much that they can misinterpret with what you're putting out into the market. That's really all I wanted to get across in this video. So to make this extra clear though, and really help you out, we're going to go into the questions you want to be asking in your claim, in your when you're creating your claim, I should say. So these 3 questions I basically ripped from Breakthrough Advertising, which is a great copywriting marketing book a lot of people have read, by Eugene Schwartz. Classic. I read this book every year pretty much. Specifically these 3 questions. There's chapters on each of these questions. The first question is very much focused on the desire that you are pushing out. So what are you reflecting to the market? The second is the state of awareness, what they know about how your product works. And then the third is how many people have presented offers like yours before you to this market, right? So that's their state of sophistication, saturation. The second question is their state of awareness. And these are all just defined by Eugene Schwartz. Like, it doesn't matter if you call it the state of awareness, the state of Missouri, whatever. It doesn't matter. Point is, they've seen other offers out there, and they have a certain amount of knowledge about how you do what you do or how your product works. So based on how much they know and how many offers they've seen, you got to market differently. That's what it comes down to. And that influences, I really should have done this part of the video first, but whatever. That claim needs to be around what they know, what they want, and how many offers they've seen, what they've seen before. When you try to market to, for instance, a market that has seen everything before, and you act like they haven't, your offer's going to fall on deaf ears. It's not going to hit. Similarly, if you are not educating and they need to be educated on how your product, your service, your whatever satisfies the thing, the desire that they have, which it all does go back to this, then you need to do that. Otherwise, think about it, they're not going to resonate. They're not going to understand. So that's where you got to do that. Like, you got to look, and so we could look at this, and there's like, these different levels. They're super aware, product aware, solution aware, problem aware, unaware. I'm giving away some sauce here. This is like some really good stuff. Stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, stage 5. These are the different levels. And the reason why these matter is you can see what to do at each stage. Like, if you're first in the market, nobody else has what you have. I was just talking earlier today with somebody who has an invention. They have an invention. There's nothing else like it out there, and it's new. So this is where they would approach the market, and you just make a claim effectively. You don't really need to get super fancy. And then in stage 2, if somebody else is like copied you, or you're copying somebody else, let's say you see this guy printing with his invention, he's making all kinds of money, and you're like, wow, I want to make some kinds of money too. You say, okay, I'm going to copy the successful claim, but I'm going to enlarge on it, right? Makes sense. And then third, they've heard the claims, now you need a new mechanism. That's where if we go back into the architecture of the claim, we have the mechanism, right? This is what you need to use to differentiate. So, right, it gets a little technical. It's like you got to do some addition and subtraction of where they're at, right? Like, there's a formula to this, but not in terms of like the words you use per se, as much as where they are and what you say based on where they are. So that's a important thing. That is an important thing to know. And before I finish that out, so just that's the awareness. So the last ones, right? You go from the new mechanism to enlarging or elaborating on the mechanism. So you sort of start embellishing, and then the market, when it's super saturated, which is happening more and more frequently, like things move really fast in 2025, 2026. I'm making this video from 2029, from the future. And I can tell you, in 2029, it's even more competitive. It's not like it's getting less competitive and easier. So it's pretty safe prediction that that's what the case is going to be. So stage 5 is when you start to tap into the identity. And so you're shifting to something unique about the individual who is your ideal client profile. All right. I hope that helps. That's how you want to think about claim structure. And really, the claim, by the way, is like the headline that you're putting first and foremost in your marketing. It's really where everything is coming from. It's effectively tied to the offer that you're making, right? The promise that you're making. So that's what we're talking about, and why we need to move with the market. Let the market tell us what they know, what they've seen before, and what that core desire is, so that we can make claims that really hit, really work. Nothing to it. Have a good one.